Hopefully, Miss Hoskin gave you the links to the YouTube videos if you needed them after. I send them to you after the lesson, okay? Alright, hopefully you'll be able to see why we did expansion and factorization the previous lesson. In previous times, when Ignite was still how it was before, advancing, the only people that were actually able to see the purpose of expansion, then factorization, then quadratics is the people that skipped over and did methods a bit earlier. You're going to get a taste of that now because we wrote a little combined course with science, so you can apply what you're learning in quadratics. But here you get a taste of why we did factorization. You just had a test on factorization. Those skills are applicable to quadratic equations when you use them with null factor law. Can someone remind me what null factor law told me? If I have A times by B is equal to 0, what could I say about A? A could be 0, or what else could be 0? B could be 0, or A and B could be 0, which allowed us to do something like this. If I had x take 2 and x, I don't know, plus 3, do you have something to add? Say it to the camera. No? What's funny?
It wasn't enough.
Leave until after. Do I have something in brackets multiplied by something else equals 0? Is that the situation I have here? So what could this A be equal to? What could this B be equal to?
0.
Therefore, I can solve. I can have x take 2 is equal to 0, or x plus 3 equals 0. What would x be in the top one? 2. And what could x be in the bottom one? So, that's the point of null factor law and factorization, because last lesson you gave stuff that was already factorized. But here, you're going to be given quadratic equations that aren't factorized, and you're given a number of strategies to factorize. Common factors, the top one, then difference between two squares, the second one, then perfect squares, the third one, and then the hardest one, sum and product factorization. Now you're going to apply that. So to solve by factorization, rearrange the equation so one side equals 0. That's the first step you should do. Second step, factorize using any of these. If you couldn't quite do that in the factorization test, you've got a second chance to do it here. And then the third step, use null factor law, which was taught to you on Friday, on the factorized quadratic to find x. I'm going to give you a solid 3 minutes. Can you get that box down on how to solve by factorization? And then I'll show you how you do solving by factorization. Good. So the people that haven't been in these lessons, anything in black is just to help me teach you. Anything in blue is what I suggest that you have in your cheat sheet, and also examples on how to do this stuff. Hopefully that reminder about factorization is nothing new to you. Couple more minutes. I won't erase anything so you can get it down later if you're a bit slow. So again, the 3 steps, rearrange the equation so one side is 0, usually the right hand side. Step 2, factorize using any of the techniques you've been shown. We're not asking you to do anything different. And then step 3, null factor. This one here, I'm trying to solve. X squared is equal to 7x. Does that equal 0 right now? Can I make it equal 0? What would it look like if it equaled 0?
X squared minus 7x.
Excellent. Where did the negative 7x come from? Can you explain?
To make the right hand side 0, you need a minus 7x, but you have to do that to both sides.
Excellent. If you want nothing on that side, so what's the opposite of adding 7x? Taking 7x. If you take away 7x from this side, you get take 7x. If you take away 7x from 7x, you have nothing. No. Is there a common factor in these two terms?
Yeah. X.
Good. If you want to write, the way that I taught it was I broke it down into, now you can see there's a common factor of x. Where does that common factor go? On the left of a set of brackets, and what goes into those brackets?
X takes
The leftover, so I've just moved x out of there. What's left over? X takes 7, and that equals 0. I just factorized it. Remember there was no brackets here. Are there brackets now?
Yeah.
Do I have an a times by a b? That's my a. That's my b, and they equal 0. Can I apply null factor law to this?
Yeah.
So x could either be, so x is either, x could equal 0, or what's the other thing that could equal 0? What's in the bracket?
X minus 7.
Good. X takes 7 equals 0. That's not my answer though. I want to know what x is equal to. So what is x equal to on this line of working out?
7.
7. If you want to put little squares around it to indicate what your answers are, there's 2 possible answers. If you don't like the 2 possible answers, then we can try it out. If I made this x 0, 0 times by literally anything, what's the answer going to be? 0. That satisfies the equation. If I put 7 here into this x, what's 7 take 7 going to be? 0. It doesn't matter what this x equals anymore, because that's 0. 0 times by anything, nothing. Okay? Someone else? Does this equal 0 right now? Someone from my class. How do I rearrange this to equal 0?
X squared plus 2x take x.
Excellent. So I rearrange this to do step 1. We have a wealth. We have many different ways to factorize. Is there a common factor in these 3 terms? No, because 8 doesn't have an x in it. So cross out this. I can't do that top one. Do I have a square number take another square number? No, so I can't do this one. Do I have perfect squares? Well, straight away I can tell it's not perfect squares because that's not a plus. The other way that you can tell is 8 is not a square number. What is the only leftover way that I can factorize with? Sum and product. So, method of sum and product. What are the factors of 8? 1 times by? 2 times by? Is that it? Because the next one will be 4 times by 2. That's a waste of time. Okay? Which of these sets of 2 is going to get me 2 by adding?
4 and negative 2.
4 and negative 2. Okay? Because the best I can do with 1 and 8 is either 9 or 7. I can't do anything else. But with 2 and 4, what was the combo again? Someone wrote it? Negative 2 and 4, was it?
Yeah.
So that, now, I've decided that A is negative 2 and B is that. So that factorizes to x take 2, x plus 4, and it equals 0. Do I have null factor law again? Do I have something times by something else? Equals 0. So what could A be in this line of working? X take 2 is equal to nothing. This line of working tells me x plus 4 is equal to what? That's so funny. What? Squeak? What? This is what everyone was treating your little values presentation today not seriously. This is what we're talking about. A lot of young people don't have any values. We're here to learn. What is x plus 4 meant to equal?
0.
0. So what's x going to be in this left-hand side situation? What's x going to be here?
-4.
Can we quickly confirm? I'm not going to write the working out. If I put x is equal to 2 here, 2 take 2 is 0 times anything, 0. If I put -4 into this bracket, what's this bracket going to have in it?
0.
0 times by anything equals 0. Okay? One last one, and I'll give you all that time to... Do I have 2 fractions here?
Yeah.
What was the shortcut to getting rid of the fractions? It was called cross something. Cross multiply this. So the left hand side is going to be 2 lots of x take 2. What's the right hand side going to be if I do the cross multiplication? What am I timesing the bottom with the top? X times by? Sorry? So little. Not b, 6 plus.
6
X. Remember you said a test on in expansion? Are there brackets here? Can I expand those brackets? If I've got 2 times by x, what do I have? If I have 2 times by -2, what do I have?
-4.
If I have x times by 6, what do I have? If I have x times by x, what do I have? Is this a quadratic? Is there a squared somewhere?
Yeah.
Can I rearrange it to look more like a quadratic? Can I chuck everything on the left-hand side? You don't have to. You don't have to. You just want it to equal 0. Do I already have x squared on the right-hand side? Is there an x squared on the right-hand side? Do I have x's on both sides? I'm going to try to encourage you to just put it in any direction you like. What's the opposite of positive 2x? So if I took 2x from both sides, how many x's will I have on the right? 4 x's. So I'm going to take this. -4 is equal to 4x plus x squared. What's the opposite of taking 4 from something? Add 4. So what's going to be left on this side if I add 4 to both sides? 0 equals 4 plus 4x plus x squared. See, I did a sneaky and just did everything on the right-hand side. Can I rearrange this to look more like a quadratic? No, the squared thing first. So 0 equals x squared plus 4x plus 4. Some of you are looking at me like, why is he allowed to do that? Does the order of addition matter? Someone from that other class, tell me, what's the answer to 1 plus 2 plus 3? What's the answer? 6. What's the answer to 2 plus 1 plus 3?
6.
Does the order of addition matter?
No.
Are there any additions here? So am I allowed to just rearrange and still, as long as I don't change the to a negative sign or something, I can make it look like how I want. Is there any way, what method of factorization can I do here?
Sum and product.
I like that. You can jump straight to sum and product. Sum and product will mostly work. Is it also a perfect square? Just checking.
No.
Yeah.
Check.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Because you have a square number here, a square number here. Last step to check if it's perfect square. What is the square root of 4? 2. Is 2 times by that going to give you the 4? So that's a perfect square. But I'll do what he said. Okay? What are the factors of 4? 1 and 4 and?
2 and 2.
It's on the recording. 2 and 2. Which is the only combo that's going to get me the 4 here? Is there any way that I can get 4, 2 and 2? So what you'll notice is that factorizes to x plus 2 squared, which is still null factor law. It's just timesing the same thing. Let me write it out in code. 0 is equal to x plus 2 bracket x plus 2. Are those both going to give me the same answer?
Yeah.
So x plus 2 equals 0. So x must be equal to -2. There's no other. The other answer is just going to spit out x is equal to -2 as well. Okay? Because do you agree that the only way that I'm going to get 0 here, what's the only number I can make x into to make this side 0? -2. Twice over. Okay? Can you get that example down, please? You're working on 10C for my class. I think your teacher put up what the... I think it's 13C for you. Other ones, but I don't know off the top of my head. My books are in the drawer there. You can chat now.